What's going on, guys? Welcome to Grow to Win podcast, episode number 4. And in this podcast, we discuss all things growth regarding career, opportunities, and just self-improvement in general. And today we have on our first guest, content creator, Konstantin Dragunov.
Thank you for having me, Jonka. It's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, no problem. And for those of you who don't know or want to know how I know Konstantin, we grew up together and we went to high school together, middle school together.
Man.
And he's somebody I really look up to, especially just his consistency in the gym and the type of content he creates. So if you guys want to check him out, where can they get you?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I usually go by Kondizzle.
Kondizzle. Look up Kondizzle on Instagram. So just the first thing I wanted to jump in today, I just wanted to know, this is going to be kind of fun. So if you were going to get put in any anime character's body, who would it be?
Oh, I love this question. I have a brother to me. His name's Angel. I remember he always had little DVD tapes of Dragon Ball Z. I remember he had I don't know if you know Broly, the first Broly movie. Yeah. Oh my God. And ever since then, it just picks up. I've watched the show, and that's the main one. Being looking like or Goku, Vegeta. That's always been such a huge inspiration to me, or something I aspire to look like. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. And I think anime and just the concepts that they talk about are truly it's inspiring. You know, it's
yeah.
A lot of shows can't really portray that with the main character and it kind of gives us hope sometimes. I remember I still watch anime, but I used to look at it through the lens of man, I want to be that guy. And it's just a cartoon.
You see what they go through, it's dang, if he can go through it, maybe I can, you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful storytelling. Yeah. We don't really see that in many television shows that have higher production value. But yeah, I just asked that question because I feel just the grit and determination that you have in the gym kind of reminds me of an anime character.
That segues right into the gym, man.
Yeah.
Why I got into it, everything like that.
So how long have you been working out for?
It's been, I want to say, working out. I started probably my sophomore year, somewhere around there. And that doesn't necessarily mean just me going to the gym, you know? It was more I got into fitness. That's when I first started getting into fitness. So whether it was going for runs, going for bike rides was my thing back in the day.
Yeah. I remember you were big into calisthenics too.
Then it segued into calisthenics. I remember the first day I said screw it. Let's go to a local park. Let's see what I can do. Pull-ups, push-ups. I remember I couldn't even do 5 pull-ups. Maybe I got 2, 3 good ones. And that was it. That was all for the day. I wake up the next day, sore, stiff as a rock, could barely move out of my bed. And then I just remember that feeling holy hell, if this is how hard it's going to be, can I continue? And then obviously 3 years later, you look at me now, getting into the gym, being able to put up some crazy numbers, being able to see how my body's grown has been such an incredible journey that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Dude, yeah, it's going to the gym is one of those few rare things where you start seeing physical progress right away. You know, and a lot of stuff where you're doing something, whether it's business or entrepreneurship, you don't see that growth how you can see going to the gym. Away. Where it's with the gym, within the first 3 months of you going, it's you start to see a little thing, a little something, you start to put up higher numbers, and it gives you more initiative to want to keep going.
It's the positive reinforcement, you know?
Exactly. That's what I love about the gym too, because it's you go in there, you get your work done, and even the feeling of being sore makes you feel like you left doing something.
You left it all on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm so grateful that I've documented a lot of that journey, a lot of my progression in strength, physique, and looking back, it's holy shit. I used to think I was him back then, and then until you see how far you've come now, and it's just a constant cycle of wanting to do better and better each time.
And I think that's a great lesson for people at home. It's he said he questioned if he could continue the first time he did pull-ups because it was hard and he felt sore and it fucked him up. And like now he's stuck with it years later and he's reaped all the rewards of sticking with it. So I feel like no matter how hard it is at first or like how little you believe in yourself, you have to keep pushing against the odds and just like end up on the other side of the fence.
Coming from someone who could never even imagine of posting themselves online, let alone the body, seeing what I am doing in the gym and seeing how far I've come now, it's like I'm like an example of what hard work can achieve and what you can achieve naturally. It's nothing crazy.
Of course,
if I can do it, anybody can.
And that kind of like, I look at your stuff and given that you're natural, like on your TikTok and your physique, and I just realized like, man, everybody's shortcutting the like steroids. Like, you know what's crazy? That like I see all these like, it was more popular back then with like Larry Wheels and stuff when he was popular. I don't know if he's still popular.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
And but like all the kids like 19, 20, lower 20s are getting on trend.
Yeah, and it's to get those results early, skip the whole working because it does take a long time. Don't get me wrong. It took years to get to a level where I'm like even somewhat satisfied, you know what I mean?
For sure. I actually have 2 quotes I want you to, from a guy named Alex Hermosi. I'm going to do like a bunch of quotes throughout this whole thing. So the first quote from Alex Hermosi, Chris Williamson, who's a podcaster, asked him this question. He's like, what's the most life-changing thing you can do? Alex Hermosi said, instead of setting an alarm for when you wake up, setting one for when you want to go to bed, because like your sleep is important and you'll sleep until you need to, and then you'll be energized
100%.
through the day. But the second one I kind of want to dig into too is like, this was life-related, but he brought it into nutrition. And he said, something that will change your life is eating your body weight in protein every day.
Yeah, and I've done that for years now. I think nutrition is probably the number one thing people should focus on, and people neglect it so much.
Oh, for sure.
You see people's diets nowadays, like it's horrendous. It's scary to me because that's kind of how I always made sure my diet was in check first before I ever got into something as serious as like weight training or trying to grow. Our body isn't like a car, but it's like a machine. It takes fuel to.
Which do you think supplements which? Do you think the nutrition in your diet supplements the working out, or the working out supplements the nutrition and diet?
I think. I don't know. I think there's no point in working out if your nutrition's not in check, if you're under eating, if you're not taking in enough nutrients, your body's not gonna grow as it should. You know what I mean?
For sure. And just a value for the people out here, like this is grow to win too. Growth meaning also by physical means as well. What can people watching this who want to lose weight do to lose that extra weight and to start feeling more comfortable to go out into the gym and start trying to make progress over there?
I think the main thing over the years is what I learned is calories are calories. It does. You need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, but all foods I've come to realize that are not equal. When it comes to micronutrient density, things like that, things of that nature. If we take a piece of, let's say, beef compared to something like chicken, it's gonna vary, and depending on your goals, these things can help fuel you in a different sense, like energy levels. I know when people, they go on diets, like, oh, I feel miserable, I can't do this, I can't do that. But in my case, it's like I have such a good food network that I don't get those crashes in energy. I don't feel like it's a
burden. Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you recently went on a 20+ pound cut, right?
Oh my, 20? Try 40.
40?
40-pound cut.
Damn.
From 200 down to about 163, which was...
Holy shit.
That was probably the proudest moment of my life.
So what mindset did you have behind cutting that much weight? Was it just like you made it a routine to eat like how you did? Or like what it was the ignition or the catalyst to be able to start saying like, I'm just going to do it? Did you have slip-ups? Where you're like,
100% slip ups, mistakes. But at first, it's like, let's see. I always had a plan. You have to come in with a plan. My plan was, okay, by this time I should have lost this weight. I should hopefully be I should get there at a certain time, right? And it's tough because there are weeks, there are even months where you'll make less progress than you'd like, and that's when I think mindset comes in, and you have to be able to tell yourself like, okay, this is normal. This is when you have to be able to switch that key in your head and just keep going, without
sure.
like feeling negative about it, because I mean you're always gonna hit obstacles, and it's those obstacles that allow us to even push further beyond.
For sure. And something I've experienced that I think could also value the audience too is like I have trouble counting my macros for home cooked meals. So do you weigh everything?
Oh, okay. So I can even go into that. So weight loss at the beginning, it's I don't want to say it's easy, but it's a lot easier than compared to when you're at the end of like a losing weight journey.
Yeah.
Normally what I do is I'll eat the same things like every day because I enjoy what I eat, and that's another part of it. If you enjoy what you do, you'll have no problem doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's just part of my day. So I have certain meals. One of my favorites being right now is like ground beef, potatoes, half an avocado, some cheese. Like I've already measured these out. So even just eyeballing it, I can tell how many calories are in there, how many servings are in there, which just allows me to like hit that goal for the certain day.
For sure.
I'm telling, weighing your food is the most important thing.
Weighing it?
Weighing it out, because you'll think you're eating 200 calories worth of this, where in reality you're eating 300-400, and then you're slipping up on all the other meals, so you're really taking in like extra 1,000 calories without even knowing it, even if you think you're losing weight.
Especially it's like if you're not doing cardio too, then you're not burning as much.
Yeah, you're not burning as much, so it's easier to.
So here's the other quote I wanted to go over today, and it was something over a philosophy over paid ads that Alex Hermosi had, which paid ads is like one of the coolest things ever because it has its own algorithm and its own like almost like new creatives that wouldn't work on organic. And something that he said about making paid ads is you have to make more content, then you have to make it better content, and then you have to start making new content. And how do you think that would apply to the gym?
I guess being able to try different things. You shouldn't be scared to switch things around, see what works for you, because we're at the end of the day, we're all different, and everything works differently for us. And that's, for me, I kind of found the missing piece to the puzzle. What allows me to continue making progress in the gym, even year after year. Even looking back on photos, how I've been able to grow, how I've been able to bring up lagging parts. It's not something that comes naturally. It's something that you actually have to look into and be able to determine like what you need to change.
Yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't know what you needed to change until you did the more, right?
Yes.
And I always hear this thing where it's like quality over quantity, but
100%.
I think it's bullshit.
Really?
I do, because if you think about it, like the quality or the quantity creates the quality. So like the more you do, the more you fail, and the more you learn from your failures.
In that sense, yeah.
And then it's like, then you can start making more of the quality.
I was talking about like, you see people here in the gym 3-4 hours, just slamming the weights
That's
around.
true. That's true.
Kind of how I was thinking it. But yeah, you need to fail.
But everybody has that era, right?
100%.
In the beginning
that's
of
how
the gym.
And that's how you learn.
Exactly. So it's like, I used to like think going to the gym for 4 hours was helping me.
I thought, yeah, oh man, I'll grow like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you need those slip ups to create the quality. And then when you do more of the quality, it dials in even more, where it's like, now I know how to do proper form on like a row. And then it's like, now I'm going to do more of these quality reps and less of the
100%.
other stuff.
Yeah.
And then once you do enough rows, you're like, now I need something new for my back. So I think that cycle kind of plays out. The more, better, new in life in general. Just like being holding yourself accountable for doing things in quantity and doing more. Because nobody wants to do more anymore. You know, there's all these shortcuts.
Everybody, yeah, I get that.
So I feel like
it's not easy.
When I hear people say like quality over quantity, I'm like, well, it depends where you're at, because like you want to do as much quantity as possible so you mess up. There's this I don't know if it's a study, but it's just another quote. I forgot who said it, but he brought up how there was this art class and the teacher had two different teams. And he said, I want to make the best clay pot possible. And one team said, the captain of the one team said, let's make as many as we can and as many as possible so we can learn how to make these clay pots. And the other team just focused on quality. They're like, let's just focus on how we can make the most quality clay pot in general. And the quantity side ended up doing not only a more quality work, but having more of
it's
the
like
more
it's
quality.
like a formula.
Exactly, yeah.
It's testing it out. Yeah.
It's awesome. And I like just doing more. This is something when we were going down the stairs, I was telling you about. So I stayed up all night yesterday. I could not fall asleep. And I was doing like some work and I stayed up into like 5 a.m. And I was doing this thing that's called Counting in Hundreds. That's in this book I'm reading right now. And it's basically like, if you're going to do something, count in hundreds. Because then if you're only doing like 10, 15, it's going to be hard to break those triple digits. So when I was doing cold outreaches this morning, which are just like cold Instagram DMs, and I do 100 a day. And then it makes you think like, then if I do 100 minutes of content a day, and then I do 100 minutes of this other thing a day, then that's 300 minutes that are going towards these things, where I'm doing like 5 or 10 times more of the work instead of just like doing it per like task. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like counting in hundreds can be very helpful too. Like maybe bringing back to the gym related, maybe tracking your progress every 100 days.
Oh no, you should not be looking in the mirror and judging your progress off that.
After 100 days?
No, off like every day, because you're not gonna see any change. It's those monthly, those yearly progresses that really add up.
Yeah. So I think counting in hundreds is super important, and that's the kind of philosophy I've been sticking to from these past couple weeks.
I mean, that's the whole. I feel like people get so discouraged. They go in the gym, no matter the goal, they try progressing into something and they don't see the results they're looking for right away, and you have to remind them that it's a process. It's not something that comes overnight.
You know what's fucked? Like when I first started Fighter Fluid, I was like, everybody's gonna buy from me. Like I'm gonna have all these fucking orders because all my friends are gonna support me. And the first day, I was posting, I was telling people 0 orders. And then no, I had 1 order, and it was from my friend on the live stream, but she took antidepressants, and Fighter Fluid has ashwagandha. For those of you who don't know, quick sponsor shout out. This is a supplement company called Fighter Fluid. It's a nootropic natural pre-workout. If you're an athlete, tap in. Fighter Fluid has got your back. But for Fighter Fluid, I've been doing the cold outreaches for, and when I first released it, I was anticipating everybody I know to buy one. Like barely any people I knew bought one, and it's like when you first start, the progress that you're
discouraging.
It's discouraging, yeah. It's very discouraging, and you just have to stick through it and like try to better yourself so you can create and do better and get more.
Even moments in my life when people are the biggest thing. Like people, you're not gonna be able to do this. I remember being overweight. Look at him. He can't lose the weight. He's gonna stay, bulking forever, up until I kind of use that as fuel in the back of my head to prove them wrong. I can do this.
And those same people are probably commenting on your posts.
You wouldn't believe it. Yeah.
And you know what too, it's like something else I heard is the friends that you have that always bring up your past aren't friends that are worth having, because they're almost stuck into that version of you where they're still better. and they
Yeah.
still have that power.
Oh, how
over
come
you.
you're not like this? How come you're not?
Like, remember when you were like fat and like pudgy?
Exactly.
It's like, yeah,
You
but
remember-
I'm not anymore.
How come you don't want to come just sit down, play video games all day, you know,
It
shit like that.
It must. Sorry, I accidentally clicked the button and it stopped recording. My apologies for my unprofessionalism.
No.
But it's like, yeah, man, the people you surround yourself in makes a world of difference. And like, I've wanted to get more business type of friends, but making new friends that have same more in common with you is extremely difficult. Maybe not as much in the gym because you're literally surrounded by it's the environment, but like the business environment is just in my basement, like working all the time.
I think it's more cold. It's more ruthless.
Maybe I'll have an imaginary friend pop up one of these days. But until then, if you like business and you're young, I need a friend. But Constantine's my friend.
Hey.
So, but that's the thing too. Like, it doesn't even have to be similar interests. It can be like you both want more from life too. And that's,
being able to want more to grow as a person, I think, is such a huge thing.
Oh,
and
for sure.
It segues into it like every pathway in life.
Oh yeah.
Relationships, business, work. It all comes together.
So there's this South Park episode.
Believe it or not, I'm not a South Park fan.
You don't like South Park?
Never watched it.
Well, this is inspiring as fuck. So
I'm down here.
So there was this video game that they were playing, and it was like Heroin Dragon or something, and like they would shoot up. If you know what I'm talking, they would shoot up in the video game, and they would never ending chase a dragon. And like I looked at that in a completely different way. I was like, if we as people, without the heroin, like if we as people have the goal of just like going for a moving object at all times and never being like complacent or satisfied, you can make it that much further in life.
Yeah.
Something that Nick Aguirre said, which was on my podcast for the Fighter Fluid channel, he said, the more you're not doing like your work, the more somebody else is either gaining on you or getting further
from you. Yeah.
And that's like, that's it. People don't want to believe in that reality because it's hard to perceive, and it's just reality. And people are catching up to you the days you're not working. So you got to work and make it have the most leverage.
That prize at the end, someone else is coming for it, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's there for the taking, and if somebody wants it more than you, it's gonna show.
Exactly. And that's actually something I wanted to segue into that relates to both gym, business, and life in general, and that's leverage. Just like how you have more leverage on if you know how to have proper form in weightlifting, you can have more leverage in business by implementing different tactics and knowing certain keywords and phrases for like algorithms and stuff. And I think leverage is one of the biggest parts of the equation of success ever. Because do you think you would have gotten as far as you are now without proper form?
Not even with proper form, but with not proper nutrition, proper sleep.
And that's leverage in itself.
I leverage it all. I leverage what I eat, how it affects me. I know what works best for me, and that's how I'm able to translate it into the gym and everything.
That's deeper than what I was even thinking of it. That's
my god, no, it's like a whole puzzle.
For sure, and I can for sure correlate how that's leverage in every way.
Even over the years, like I know I've came into the gym thinking like, oh, I'm gonna just lift as much as possible. I'm gonna try and become as strong as possible, but I've kind of changed my philosophy on that thinking. I've really I'm technically I'm weaker, but I'm doing more efficient work. I'm doing more proper work. That translates into what I want. What I want is to grow, you know, and that's why I've kind of sort of give up the whole mentality of coming in and just picking up as heavy weight as possible, which I think if that's your goal, there's a different way to it. But for me, it's just not what I'm in for.
Would you consider yourself more of a bodybuilder?
I've more so segued into the bodybuilding world. I've come from like a powerlifting, you know, try and hit as big of a number as I can. But you'll get older, you'll get banged up, you know, and that teaches you important lessons right then and there. I remember around this time last year, I mean, I was squatting, I come down, I feel something in my lower back, and that affected me for months, and that kind of opened my eyes. Like, maybe I want to change the way I train, and I've ever since then. If you see me in the gym, I'm only focused on quality reps.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Leave your ego at the door. If you can't do that, I don't think.
that translates into MMA so well too, because like it's always when you first start in the beginning of your career. Like when I first started MMA, I'd go in the gym and I was like, I'm gonna fuck some shit up today. Like
You think you're the shit.
You think you're the shit, especially when you take fighter fluid. But then you go with like an Ecuadorian wrestler and he just fucks you up and you're like, I shouldn't have gone as hard. I should have been there to learn more. And you have to be, you're right, check your ego at the door, go in and always have learning eyes as a beginner. Like you're a beginner, it's always good to just never ending learn, chase that dragon while you're on heroin.
And be humble, man, because there's always time to improve. There's always a place where you can improve.
For sure.
That's why I love getting into conversations with people at the gym. Like, oh, I'm doing this. I wonder what I should be doing. And I've been there. I've tested a lot of these things, and I'm happy to give insight. Happy to teach individuals how they can improve their training and even life outside the gym. That's probably what I'm best at. Picking out what you should be eating, how you should be recovering. That thing it's so important.
Have you considered starting your own program for men?
I have, but it's very difficult because each client is different. Each client has their own goals. So it's depending on what are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain strength? Are you trying to gain weight? It's
Let's say you started a boot camp and you were like, this boot camp is the
weight loss.
The muscles for everyone, where it's like by the end of this camp you're guaranteed to at least gain 3 pounds in muscle. Do you think that would be possible? Like, could you make that promise to somebody that you're training? I'm not only wondering from like a business perspective, I'm wondering from like what are the capabilities of like people's physical prowess. Like, are they able to gain 3 pounds of muscle in like 2 months?
I think it's completely possible, but it's at the end of the day, I can tell you what to do. I can tell you what you should be eating, how much you should be sleeping. But if you're not the one that's doing it, then those results will not come.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest part. Like, as much as you want to help people, it's to people themselves that actually are helping themselves.
I want to go into this just more like habits and setting habits, because for some people it's extremely hard to set new habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because they set the bar way too high. And I argue that like setting one habit every 2 weeks that you can actually stick to is better than going full monk mode, because then those habits can actually become lifestyle. What's your philosophy behind how you start your habits? And like when you first started your diet, when you first said, I'm going to go this many times a week to the gym.
My philosophy has always been start small. You if you go big or go home at the start, you're going to burn out, and you're going to look for different alternatives to get to your goal. I think the way I do it is, whether it's working out, diet, it's always a small, let's say a small calorie deficit. If you see you're progressing, eventually if you stale out, you add some more, you take out some calories, you keep going. Another aspect is training. Let's say at the beginning of my whole training career, I was never at the gym. I was always doing, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups. I always started a low amount, let's do 20 in the morning. And then over the few weeks, okay, let's go to 30, let's go 40. Eventually, that number just keeps going up. You can add weight, you can do different things. I don't think it's something that you should be focusing on doing as much as possible, because you will burn out. Trust me, and I've been there.
That's good advice to you New Year's resolution people out there who say, I'm going to go every day to the gym.
And that's why you see so many of them leave,
Exactly.
They're out within the month.
And that's like probably a statistic that's out there. Like,
it is.
People give up because they start these high standards from themselves, because I argue that they don't actually want it.
Even things...
Because if you did, you would approach it more tactically. You'd say, I'm going to start at this amount, like you did.
Let's say doing things you don't like. Like, let's say you don't like reading.
Yeah.
You don't like you don't enjoy that. You don't start off reading, okay, I'm gonna read a whole book this week.
Yeah.
No, it's read 5-10 minutes, and then you slowly increase it,
Or counting hundreds. Read 100.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it's like, then you might not like reading, but you've gotten further along into the book.
Exactly.
And, oh man, I love that philosophy. It's helped me so much. It's like, all right, I'm kind of not good at math, but what's 100 times 100? 10,000?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is it? Wait.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like if I can reach out to 100 people a day for 100 days, I reach out to 10,000 people. That's like insane.
Yeah.
And that's also like, I love how closely related everything in life is together, because just like working out where you have to track your macros and your progression, it's the same in business and like outreaches, because you have to have some kind of formula to really dial in on what you actually did. Like I do 100 cold outreaches a day, but I also need to know how many of those people respond, and out of those people respond, how many people buy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like no matter what you're doing, you have to do your homework to it. It's like when people say they don't want to count their calories, but they want to lose weight, it's like, dude,
it's counterintuitive.
You're going to take a fucking math test and you haven't even studied for the exam. Like, you gotta know these things.
It's like, I'm only eating 2,000 calories. Why am I not losing the weight? In reality, it's like 3,000. And the moment I pulled up the scale, it's like the knot of shame, putting my head down, like, oh damn, what I've eaten as like one serving is really 3 servings.
For our foodies who like to go out to eat, what's the best place they can go to lose good weight?
Oh, I mean, maybe it's biased, but I work at Chipotle. I think Chipotle is probably as good as it gets when it comes
life hack.
Life hack.
Well, that's the thing too. Is how do you track the shit you eat at Chipotle?
I think, there's serving sizes actually, but you don't go balls to the walls. Like, oh, I'm gonna, just because it's healthy doesn't mean you go in there, get triple rice, triple meat, pile on top the guac, a little bit of cheese. No, when I'm losing weight, I understand that, I shouldn't be eating. I'm not bringing a scale out over there while I'm working, measuring this thing out. I kind of eyeball it, like 4 ounces of like chicken, let's see, rice. Normally, if I'm trying to lose more, I just cut back on certain aspects of it. Let's just no sour cream. Take off some of the fat, take off a serving of rice, just have beans on the bottom.
Yeah.
Go for the protein, hit your protein, and it's as easy as that. Vegetables, you don't worry about the vegetables. You can pile on as much as you want, really, and you won't eat as much as, let's say, as you could of like rice.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like something I've been kind of studying and wanting to get into more, but I just need to be more consistent with it, is a whole food diet. Just eating whole food.
And that's predominantly what I focus on.
Whole food diet?
Whole food diet.
So I know this, I follow this TikToker, and she actually just bought Fighter Fluid. Her name's Alyssa, and she has these like whole food diet meals. Shout out to Alyssa. And she like explains the benefits of like eating whole food diets, but it's just extremely hard,
It's hard, but it's worth it, man. Because listen, it not only does it make you feel good, but there's internal processes like you're digesting. If you're not digesting these foods, they're not going where they need to be.
Yeah. I
think that's super important, and I don't know. With that, I kind of cold turkeyed my way into it. Like I don't have any desire to like eat junk like McDonald's, pizza. I don't have those urges, and that's just because
What's your favorite like urge though? Burgers?
Probably ice cream, bro. I love ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, mine are burgers.
I have a sweet tooth, man.
I love burgers so much, man. That's like something that I wish could be made healthy.
You could, bro. You could.
I can't grill, bro.
Oh, yes, you can.
I'll put it on the stovetop.
See, ice cream, I don't know how to make no ice cream, but burgers, you have a nice little lean beef patty.
Okay, maybe I'll try it out. I need to figure out how to make.
It goes back to the whole trial and error thing. See what ingredients work. See what type of bread works. And that, yeah.
But dude, it's like going back to like the agenda of this podcast, grow to win. I feel like the key to growing any standard or any environment is just growing and getting there and wanting to constantly improve and get better. And that's something I see, that's a lifestyle of yours and that's a lifestyle of mine. But something I want to bring up is that like it's okay to pivot as well what you're trying to grow in, because we all learn from previous mistakes and previous things, or we create new opportunities for ourselves, such as like I trained MMA every single day for like 2 years. And then I realized there wasn't an energy supplement for MMA fighters that was helping them, or even athletes for that general. And I was sick of seeing people walk in with like a Celsius that has like sucralose in it and just like bullshit for your stomach. And that's what made me want to make fighter fluid. And I think there's a lot of like stigma around pivoting, you know, like when I wanted to do MMA, I had a lot of friends like, oh, what, you're giving up now? Like but it's like I created fighter fluid and it's like a child to me.
Yeah.
Like I have to continue to grow that. And I was wondering like for an area of expertise like the gym, there's so many ways that you can pivot to.
100%.
And I think that's a super cool thing. And like if you ever had a program, I'd 100% sign up for it.
I mean, even over the past year, it's like, it's not just lifting as much weight as possible, you know. I've focused more on like, because of my back, I like that back issue I suffered a year ago. I focused more on like rehabilitation, being able to actually get into the gym and not feel pain, you know. For the first time in my life, I'm getting back pain, you know. Why is that? I look what exercises have caused that. What can I do outside of the gym to mitigate that as much as I can? And I think it's helped me a lot to reduce it and even get rid of it for the most part.
Yeah. And like, dude, that program, release it.
Release the program.
Release the program. I would so sign up because like personally, like I can't go to the gym as much right now or even MMA, but I would love to learn how to, and I feel like a lot of people would too, how to leverage their time in the gym to get the most out of it and get the best results for the people who can only go like 3 times a week.
And even when it comes down to like diet, I remember I posted a video on like French toast, how I love eating the French toast, and the reception I got was crazy. That was like my best performing thing yet. Like people loved it. Oh, let's see more content, things of that nature. And it's like, it goes back to that positive reinforcement. Like, hold on, people actually want to see this thing. People actually care. Like, and it helps you so much in like actually wanting to continue doing it.
Guys, please follow Kondizzle. Like, he has these vlogs that I keep telling
people always begging me, when are we gonna get the next vlog?
He has these fucking vlogs, and they're like the best thing to watch because he goes out into like the sunset.
And people don't see this, but this is a day to day. I'm always outside. I'm always just enjoying life for what it is, you know. And
that's something so precious. It's like living in the moment.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
Sometimes like I get too caught up on the future and like, where's fighter fluid gonna end up? And like one of my friends brought this up to me. He's like, dude, look around you. You're like shipping all this shit out from your basement. You're gonna miss this one day when it does. And I'm like, fuck, that changed my entire perception on just like what we are doing now is super important because we have something that billionaires can't even buy. And that's our time that's our time to gain experience and to get to that next level. And our time to like mess with things too. And seriously, like just living in the moment, being present and learning from your mistakes is, I think, a really good formula to success as well.
Oh, you'll let it slip by. I mean, for me, it was always looking back on like progress. If you make celebrate those small wins because they add up, and you'll find yourself looking back like, wow, I did that, you know.
Don't celebrate too hard though.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another thing I saw too. This is from Alex Hermosi. I'm like hooked on his content.
I know. I watched the guy. Yeah.
You watch him?
Yeah.
So he brought up this thing, and it was called. It was a quote. It wasn't a thing. So he said, "You can either live out your 20s and become an underskilled 30-year-old, or you can work your ass off during your 20s and become an underlived 30-year-old. Which one do you think you would rather be? And do you think there's balance to that?"
I think I'd go as the underlived.
I would too.
100%.
I would love to be an underlived 30-year-old.
There's so much to do out there, man. And like you said, 30, I mean, you have your whole life ahead.
Oh, for sure. It's young. So it's like that goes to the younger audience. Like, get your shit together.
Take advantage of being young, man. I'm so grateful that I actually started when I started, because you won't have that same time later, those same responsibilities. You'll have so much more to do. And even when you get these things, they're so much easier to keep rather than to like let go completely, you know?
For sure. It's like, yeah, you said that a lot nicer than I was going to. I was going to say, get your shit together.
Stupid.
Because you want to be comfortable in your 30s. You don't want to look back when you're 40 and be like, fuck, I lived my best life in my 20s.
And now look at me, you know.
You want to be 40 and like fucking loving 40.
Yeah.
You want to be 30 and happy that you didn't go out to the bar every week with your friends. And I think it just goes back to the people you surround yourself in. It almost dictates the fact what you're going to do with your 20s.
And it is like a lonely battle, you know. I remember, let's say like, oh, it's homecoming weekend, people are out partying, having fun. I'm the motherfucker on the pull-up bar, you know. It's cold outside. I'm racking out pull-ups, doing push-ups. The fucking neighbors, you know, you're getting pretty good at this, you know. You like, why are you out here so much? And
I just imagine that whole scenario animated
on TV production. But yeah, I think just don't get discouraged, because it is pretty lonely. And I think being able to find like peace in that is important.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I feel something I also want to talk about is just the power of vocabulary and like the way we use our words. I think self-talk and self-motivation is super important, especially if you don't have the people around you to motivate you as well.
100%.
And there's so much power in words. Like, something that I learned working in the restaurant industry, and this is something I've carried on from that, is I used to say no problem all the time, where they're like, thanks. I'm like, no problem. But they made me realize, like, when you say no and you say problem, those are two things that are negative connotations, where it's like, if you say something like my pleasure, it's much better received. I don't know if that's psychology or something.
Oh,
but
that is 100% psychology.
But it's just like it's so cool how our vocabulary affects
just the
shift
outcome.
In
vocab, yeah.
It just affects the outcome so much. So it's like, if we put the power of words into ourselves and we spend less time self-pitying, pointing the finger at others, it's okay to point the finger at yourself, but you also have to realize that there's a lot of good things about you. And you have to motivate yourself. This is more for people who are chasing their dreams and they're living down that lonely route. You have to be able to motivate yourself and say good things about yourself so you can keep pushing forward. But also, you have to have the self-awareness to know when you're falling off. Yeah. And you have to tell yourself, like, you got to pick it back up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Being able to understand what went wrong, how you can fix it, things of that nature. Even telling yourself, like, oh, I can't do this. You better try to do this
for
at
sure.
least, you know. It's like...
Do you think the bar is lower now than it has been?
So fucking low, man.
You really do?
Yeah.
100%. I agree. It's hard because, like...
I hear some of these stories, man. You ask some of these people, like, what are they interested in? Oh, smoking, you know, partying. And it does... It's not... I don't want to say it disgusts me, but it's like, wow. I can't imagine living a life where... It's so much instant gratification, you know, all over the place. It's like it fries your brain in a sense where you eventually you can't sit down and do the hard work.
And that's the thing. You have better vision than them because they don't know what it's like to gain something from hard work.
That's where we need to come in and, you know, draw the line and help inspire people.
Exactly. And that's what this podcast is for.
Exactly.
Like, my goal is to reach out young audience that doesn't know what they want to do for the next step in the future and help motivate them and hear, like, us talk about what we're doing to help us push.
Taking that first step is the hardest part.
Oh, dude. There's a saying in jiu-jitsu that was always very famous, and it was like, your black belt's the hardest belt to get for the most part, but the white belt's actually the hardest belt to get because some people never start.
Yeah.
So it's like people don't even know that first step is out there for them to take. Just a little backstory about myself. When I was in high school with Khan, we used to, like, I feel like we both wanted to live pretty alternative lifestyles. Like, we didn't want that 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I had no idea what I wanted to do. This might be your first time hearing this, but I had fucking jack. I was like, my counselors would bring me in and they're like, so what do you want to do?
I don't know. You know?
I was like, I don't know. I literally, when they asked me and they're like, we got to figure this out, I thought in my head, I was like, I like Japan and I speak English. So I want to go teach English in Japan. And that was like just off the brim. I was like, I'll just do that. And then it's like, as I was getting comfortable to go do that, I started my first jiu-jitsu class just because I started watching UFC and I was like, this is cool. I want to get into this. And then I fell in love with jiu-jitsu. That changed the complete course of my life because then I ended up meeting my girlfriend of 3 years. And then it wasn't about me anymore. So it was like, I can't just go to Japan now because I found somebody that I love. And I was like, and I found a sport that I love that I want to be here for. And then it transitioned into fighter fluid where it's now my priorities have changed again. And I think it's just beautiful. Like the essence of life and how it changes is beautiful as long as you're reaching out for something. Like you should always be reaching out for something because that creates more opportunities.
Yeah, it goes back to complacency and how that kills you, you know.
Yeah.
Being in that one spot is just it's not good for growth and especially when it comes to like relationships, you know. You constantly want to be striving to be a better person.
It's even for like your journey too. It's like you started off at a playground. You started off with a bike.
Not even no. I started off as someone that might be watching this. I started off playing, you know, video games, sitting on my ass the whole day.
You were a Fortnite king though.
I was the king of Fortnite.
You were the fucking king. I remember seeing you online. I was like, fuck, he has a squad already.
Yo, I remember getting texts, oh, let me join in. But it's being able to have that like relatability aspect to the audience makes it easier to connect with people, you know, because been there. I've been at like the rock bottom. I've been at that place where it's like, fuck this, you know, like I want to make a change for myself, and seeing just the way it has progressed over the years, you know, it's easier to not even be a good student, but be able to be like a mentor of sorts.
Oh yeah, and
it's something I never had. It's something I had to see for myself. I had to put hours, days, years into you know.
Dude, I say this all the time on this podcast, which has only been 3 episodes prior, and I say like I don't want to teach people on here. I want to inspire people. Mm-hmm. I want to have discussions because like there's so many people who don't grow up with mentors.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard because it's like you don't find somebody you relate enough to, so you can't find a mentor. So the next best thing is to have somebody around your age pushing you to go further.
Yeah.
And holding you accountable. I love the friends that hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Like fucking my friend Chandler. It's like I wake up at like 1 p.m. after pulling an all-nighter doing like SEO and stuff, and he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, good morning. He's like, you did nothing today. I was like, shit. And he's right. Like, I got to just hold myself more accountable for my time management when I'm actually working. But just the people who hold you accountable, that also is something you have to check your ego at the door for. Because, like, you can't get mad when somebody's telling you the truth.
And your results are 100% dependent on what you put in, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what were you talking about, the friends and being able to... What did you talk about the friends being?
Dude, I just like my ADHD is.
ADHD. You said like they were able to.
Did I say a good point?
Yeah, like your environment as a whole, how much your like support system.
Yeah, your support system dictates how you're gonna spend your 20s.
Even you know, like even when there's those days where you feel like shit, you know, you're like, damn, I look like shit, you know, like I don't want to do anything today. Being able to have those people around you that kind of lift you up and get you back on your feet is it's so valuable, you know.
Even an external source of motivation, like if you have to watch anime to get motivated.
For me, it's also, man, music, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Music right before a set, whatever gets you going, I think use it as leverage, you know.
Exactly. Like if you watched 40 minutes of anime, but those 2 episodes hyped you up,
man,
and you're like, fuck, then go spend like 80 minutes doing something that you're really passionate about. Because like I do believe in like getting motivated through content and external forces, but something I can't fucking stand is these stoic fucking Instagram posts like, be a man, like don't show emotion. Like that's the fucking
or the whole like alpha wolf.
Yeah, okay, that's I think that's meant to be funny.
Yeah, some of them are. You just laugh at some of them, bro. Like I love
it. It's funny. It's funny, but like I hate the ones that are serious. I think like Andrew Tate, like when he came into the scene, he made a lot of boys who wanted to act like men put on a front. But it's not the person you watch that makes you a man. It's the actions you commit to.
Yeah.
And something I realized is that there is this, he's a Bulgarian guy. I was doing a pop-up shop at Export Fitness, or LA Fitness now, for fighter fluid.
What's his name? You know his name?
I'll show you a video of him right after. I don't want to name drop him, but he's a dumbass, man. He was like... So I'm doing this, I'm selling, like, I'm making good conversation. He comes up to me and he's like, bro. He's like, I know you're doing the Andrew Tate. That's probably really racist. I'm sorry.
No, I don't take offense.
Okay. He's like, bro, I know you're doing the Andrew Tate mindset course online. And I said, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, he was talking about supplements and how to sell them online. And I was like,
what the hell?
I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything like that. And he's like, man, I have my own supplement company and it's called Revenge. And he's like, I made it when my girlfriend broke up with me. And I was like, I want revenge so I get bigger muscles. And I was like, that's cool. And it's actually a cool name, like a cool idea. That's not what I'm bringing him down about. But the thing is, like, he was tricked into thinking that he said that he got dismotivated, so he stopped doing it. And it was through a third-party source, so he didn't like have physical product. What he did is he gave a formula that he bought online to a company called Supplyful, and then that company mass produce. They make it upon order. So it's like when you go to a clothing brand and you want to print out your own clothes, it's like drop shipping. So like he has it on he has his own website.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He buys it, they make the product, and they send it out. Where it's like I bought a bunch of stock that's third-party tested and heavy metal tested, and he's telling me how this works. And I was thinking, like, this is so lazy. Like, you didn't commit to anything at this point. You committed to, like, a subscription because they're paying for their own product.
Yeah.
And I was like, why'd you stop? He's like, because, like, she called me back, and I didn't need to keep doing it.
I get it back with.
Yeah, he's like, I get back with her, and I was like, well,
no more revenge.
I was like, how many did you sell? 0. And it just goes to show, like, there's fronts that people put on, but, like, you have to commit to these actions that you're pursuing. That could have been a good idea if he was committing to it, and he wasn't doing it because
he took his foot off the pedal.
He took his foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
Who knows if he even put his foot on the pedal? He might have been going like 5,
yeah,
like grandma speed. But either way, it's like going back to why he said that. Like these Andrew Tate the Andrew Tate type of guys make people feel more like men, but they're not doing actions. They just hold the
I think
front.
that's the whole problem. Is people they take in that content, but they never take those steps to in becoming the person that they're talking about.
Instead, they say, "I'm this because I watched this."
Yeah. They believe that they are this, you know.
But you're not shit. Like, guys, Constantine would have never gained all this muscle. He would have never started making content if he didn't go to the fucking park to do his first couple pull-ups.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about that start. Like, he made the decision to keep going after those pull-ups. I made the decision to keep going to jiu-jitsu after I got my fucking ass kicked by a girl my first class. A 75-year-old Japanese woman tossed me around my first ever jiu-jitsu class.
I got beat the fuck up by some old guy. Boxing, bro. Fucking the.
You went to boxing before?
Just like a free class or whatever, man. So they are so talented. So
It's hard, man. I finally got my get back when I got my blue belt on the Japanese woman.
there you go.
No, okay, I didn't really, but it was a better match because she was 75. But she's like, it just goes like you could stay in good shape for longer in life, like if you treat yourself well.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think that we covered a lot of topics today about growth. The one other segment I want to do is that I want to do a minute rant for both of us, just motivating people, like not sounding Andrew Tate, but just like giving them advice, just like being inspirational as fuck.
Okay.
All right, your minute starts now.
Listen, at the end of the day, your goals, your dreams, they're at the end of the finishing line. If you never get your ass up, if you never step on your own 2 feet, you'll never get it. You're gonna live the life of seeing others live the life you wanted, and that's gonna haunt you forever. You're gonna wake up one day and realize that you've never fulfilled anything meaningful. You chose to live a mediocre life, and that's the story you're gonna end up telling your kids, your grandkids. I was too afraid to make those steps. I was too afraid to reach after my dreams, and this is who the man I am now, you know. And I think that's the big part.
You
of
have
it.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Quit being a bitch. That's it.
There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna start at 36:10. One thing I want to say in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Be the man that you want to be perceived as. And don't only be him as in fronting, but live him. You want to live that experience that you truly desire, and you want to learn as much as possible. Live in the moment. Get better every single day at whatever your dream is, and follow your fucking dreams. Follow your dreams. That's super important. And you don't, if this ever happens and when you die, you look at the version of yourself that you could have been, you want to be as close to that fucking version as possible. Think of the man that you dream to be and be as close to him as possible. Because you want him to look back at you and say, you fucking made it. You had those hiccups, but you made it. You don't want him to look at you and be like, man, like I thought you were going to do it. Like you had that one little fall back and I thought you were going to get back up from it, but you just never did. So my best advice is chase that dragon. Never stop chasing that end goal and get better every single fucking day because of it. Mic drop. But really,
and that should scare the fuck out of you. Imagine a life where you stay the same.
That's scary.
Not and yeah, dude, it's frightening. And
Let's make a pact. This is gonna be a little cringe, but we gotta promise that we'll hold each other accountable during our entire 20s. Our 20s.
Blood pact.
Our 20s.
100. That's the most important. Yeah.
Our 20s. So like, if you ever see me falling off and you're like, dude, like Jocko's drinking again, we gotta hold each other accountable.
I'll fucking kick your ass out of that.
There we go.
Habit, bro.
Because our 20s are very important. And then we're going to inspire people every single day. Go follow him on Kondizzle. What's your Instagram handle?
Kondizzle.
Kondizzle.
Konstantin Dragunov. You'll find me there.
On everything.
Guys, try Fighter Fluid. It is amazing. Tastes just like Kool-Aid. If I could drink this shit every day, I would. Speaking of drinking it every day, stim free. I'll be waiting on that.
Coming soon, guys. A lot of people are waiting for that shit. I got to fucking release it. But if you want stim free, get people to buy the regular one. See you guys. Grow to Win podcast, episode number 4. Done.